Do you ever wonder why your playing doesn't sound quite as musical or polished as you'd like, even when you're playing all the right notes? I'm going to share 5 mistakes I see amateur pianists make all the time, along with solutions. And these aren't just beginner issues. So let's make sure you're not accidentally making these mistakes as well, no matter your level. Ritardandos and rubatos are not a free-for-all. Many students slow down at the end of every single phrase, just trying to be the most expressive they can be. Yes, some styles of music need that gentle push and pull of the tempo, but it has to make sense. Too much abrupt slowing down and speeding up makes it predictable, senseless, and there's never any chance to get into the flow and the pulse of the music. You might not be sure if you're doing too much or not. In that case, record yourself playing your piece. When you listen back, ask yourself, can I tap along with the pulse even when I'm slowing down? Or are the tempo changes too abrupt to follow? Unless specifically stated in the music to do otherwise, any ritardando or accelerando should be gradual, and whatever you take as far as tempo, you must give back. So if you slow down a little bit at the end of a phrase, push the tempo just slightly at the beginning of the next. It's a good guideline to keep the piece from slowing down more and more and more. Also, you don't want the listener to be able to perceive when you're really slowing down and speeding up. It should sound like a natural, expressive part of the music. If your tempo fluctuations are too much, practicing while counting out loud with subdivisions will help. When you do this, you'll be able to hear when something sounds unnatural. And 1 E and a 2 E and a 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 1. Crescendo marks can be deceiving, especially when they're really long. Often students will begin to crescendo right when they see the crescendo mark, which it makes sense, right? But what happens is they peak in their crescendo too soon, and then there's no more room to get any louder for the rest of the crescendo. When you see a crescendo mark, look at how long it is and then cut it in half. So don't begin the crescendo until the halfway point. Getting a tricky passage right one time is not the same as knowing it. I see this all the time. A student plays a difficult passage correctly one time after many, many failed attempts and then thinks, great, I got it. I can move on finally because I'll never play that wrong again. But of course, the next time they play it, it doesn't go as planned. If you happen to play something correctly once out of many failed attempts, sorry to say it's just luck. You have to be able to get it right multiple times in a row to truly know a passage. And I'd even say you have to get it multiple times in a row, correct for multiple days in a row. And not only get it right, it has to feel comfortable to play. The solution to this is setting realistic expectations. know that it'll take multiple times in a row, multiple days in a row before things lock into place. Now, hear me closely. I'm not saying to only consider the rhythm and that it's okay to consistently play wrong notes. I'm saying that many students tend to play the right notes while sacrificing any sense of the correct rhythm, and they do this for many days or weeks in a row. If I'm learning a new piece and the page is covered with notes, yes, I do need to take time to pick out the notes, and therefore I'll disregard the rhythm momentarily. But I do that one small measure at a time. Then immediately after, I practice that measure in time at an incredibly slow tempo, as slow as I need to go. Anybody can figure out how to read the notes, find them on the piano, and then plunk them out. The music happens when it has rhythm. Rhythm and notes go hand in hand. They are equally important and they are equally hard to correct once learned incorrectly. This is why I consistently say to practice in small sections. A line, a phrase, a measure, a beat, whatever it takes. No section is too small in the beginning stages of learning a piece. If you try to learn all the notes in a brand new piece from beginning to end and then say, okay, now I'm going to go back to the beginning and worry about the rhythm, I hate to tell you, but you've already learned bad rhythmic habits and your time will be spent not only learning the rhythm, but trying to unlearn those bad rhythmic habits that you've gained from not paying attention to it at all. So you're being a smart pianist by practicing in small sections. The problem now is you're not connecting them. On the macro level, this can look like two completely different tempos for different sections. Zooming in a bit, this could mean that you can't get from measure 8 to 9 without stopping because you've never practiced that transition. So every time you practice 2 sections in a row, follow that up by connecting them and make that its own section. If your sections are measures 1 to 8 in a piece and then 9 to 16, practice the last beat of measure 8 into measure 9 as its own section. This will glue your piece together and make it sound cohesive, more professional, and polished. So, how many of those mistakes are you guilty of? No shame. These are super common, and the good news is now you know what to look out for and how to begin fixing them.